Good afternoon, Mikkel Damman here, Mikkel Narvak Damman to be correct. Today I'm going to talk about Alaska, my origin, and the culture of the Native Americans or Alaskans, the Eskimos, and how they live and things we can learn from them. First I'm gonna make a fire and make some coffee. Some food I haven't eaten today. See, there's still blueberries and other berries around here. It's gonna be a great day. This saw was actually made by a friend of mine, Oliver. He made his own tools. Now I am really looking forward to coffee and maybe some boiled eggs and toast. And if you have a hard time making fire, this is a really good thing. Welcome to my kitchen. I love the smell and the smoke, the sound. Can you hear it? Hear the fire? Mixing with the sound of the birds. What a beautiful day to be alive. Brought my hat. It's actually not mine, it belongs to my dad. My dad and I, we had one hat each. That when we went camping, we were using our hats. This is actually from a lunk. This cloth here are from a lunk that we got when we were in Alaska, my dad and I. This here, guess you can see what that is maybe. And here's a squirrel tail. When my dad and I was in Alaska last time, there was kind of a squirrel year. There were squirrels everywhere, so we shot squirrels and we ate them before they ate us. I almost said. They were not going to eat us, but they tried to eat our food. To dig into our storehouse and finish our food, so we finished them instead and we ate them. Yeah, it tastes like chicken. And well, to start from the beginning, I'm born in Alaska. I don't know if you know. My name is Mikkel Narvak Damman, and Narvak is my original name that I was named after a hunter on the northwest coast of Alaska, where I lived in the start of my life. Narvak, it means water, is a Native American name, an Eskimo name. This coffee is finished. Yeah. Oops. Not the nicest cup, but I have so many good memories with this cup from my dad and I. Even here you see it's burned, been too close to the fire. That was good. Well, it started actually, the way we ended up in Alaska was my dad went over there when he was young he worked himself over on a boat to America, and with a friend he paddled, went with a canoe down the Yukon River. He also worked with dogs, training dogs that's going to for a deed rod. And later he met Mom in Norway. I was conceived, and they chose to move to Alaska. They went over to Alaska. We settled down in a little Eskimo village upriver from Kotzebue. It's called Ambler, on the northwest coast, and we lived in a Sodhouse. You could hardly see it was a house. You can see it here on the picture. You could almost stand on the roof and not see there was any house there. We had 24 dogs, no roads there, so we had to go with a sled and with Dogmushing to get around. And people had to fly in there, or they had to go with a boat upriver. And my mom and dad, they lived by hunting and gathering berries and mushrooms and fishing, a lot of fish. And I was born. I heard I hardly slept in the beginning, so my dad had to carry me around all night. And there's a lot of bears there. One time my dad was out hunting, and my mom and I was alone home, and my dad had the gun, so and there was this crazy bear around, and so she couldn't go out of the house, so she started to burn furnitures to keep the heat up, to not freeze. It can be really cold in Alaska, like 60 below Celsius. It's it's kind of cold. And something that amazes me, I learned from, I was not very old when we lived there, but my parents told me stories about how the Eskimos, the natives, treated them. And one story I like is when they came, some neighbors from the small village. We lived a few people, probably not a bear. We lived a few kilometers from a little small village, not many people. Some of them came to visit. They didn't say anything, they just entered the Sodhouse, they sat down, and they just looked around. They looked around, they were sitting there for a long time, and my parents thought, these guys are kind of rude. I mean, who does like that? He just comes, not invited, just comes, sit down, and look around. And then after a while, they just went. And they were talking together, my mom and dad, and kind of, this is rude people. What was that? The next morning, when we wake up, my parents, they went out, and they saw in the entrance of the Sodhouse, there was just a whole bunch of stuff peeled up, and there was everything we didn't have. So those people had just come and sit down, and they were looking around to see what we lack. And then they thought it was their responsibility to provide what we lacked. So they had just brought it. Didn't say anything, they just brought everything needed. And I think we can learn from that. In our society, it's about having the most. We look up to people that have a lot of stuff, have a lot of money. But in Alaska, the Eskimos, they look up to the one who can give the most, the one who provides the most to others, the one who helps others the most. And it reminds me about the first church. When you read the Bible said they didn't lack anything. Nobody lacked anything. There was no one among them that lacked anything, because people with houses and properties, they came and they sold their houses and properties, and they shared the one with a lot of things, they sold it and shared with the others that lacked. So no one lacked anything. And also, my parents told me a story how when they were going, for example, picking blueberries, it was a competition of picking the most. And at the end of the day, they measured who had the most, and the one with the most, he gave away to the one who had the least. So the one who had the least ended up with the most. And they had a competition. It was about who can give the most, who can share the most, who can provide the most for others. And we need to learn from that. And I really like what the Bible says, that I'm just gonna put on some food here. Let me see if I can get this toast ready while we're talking. And I think it's amazing to remember the words of Jesus. Jesus says, it's more blessed to give than to receive. It's actually more blessed. There is more joy in giving than in receiving. And I believe the Eskimos, the natives, they have understood that. The Bible says a lot about generosity. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 9:6, it says that whoever sows generously, reap generously. In Proverbs 11:25, it says, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. In Psalm 112, it says, good will come to those who are generous and lend freely. We need to remember what Jesus said, it's more blessed to give than to receive. We lived in Norway for a long time, and many years later, when I was in school, and Oliver, the one who made this saw here, I told about earlier, he was in his 70s. He needed help to build a new Sodhouse because his Sodhouse was falling apart. And so my dad was going over there. My grandparents, my mom's parents, they paid for me so I could go as well. And my dad and I had an awesome trip. So many good memories. And we went in there with a plane. We flew in from the civilization 45 minutes into nowhere, Dead Fish Lake, to help out Oliver living there with his dog. We brought a dog too. We had to test different dogs, which one would react and alert when a bear comes. So we came in there. It was really windy. The small plane was just going up and down like a roller coaster. But finally we get there and we help him out to build this sod house. It's 2/3 is down into the soil, so we had to dig a big hole and then build with timber, and 1/3 is over above the ground. When we came into where Oliver lived, there was a crazy bear around there. Sometimes they can go crazy. And it had just teared apart his whole storehouse. There was nothing left. So we had to carry a big gun around, going to the toilet in the night, toilet paper in one hand, gun in another hand. It's about the right temperature here now. My mom was in Alaska sometime later, not that long ago, and she was in Sodhouse, and in the opening there was a bear coming down. And she was trying to scare the bear with a pepper spray. You know, it's a smart thing, use pepper spray. It went in her eyes and she started to cough a lot, and the bear just ran away. And so here you can see a picture of Mom. Well, that's not Mom, that's the bear. That's Mom. This here, sleeping bag actually, I got really cheap. It's new, it's from the army. There's some spots here and stuff, so I got them cheap. Actually by the help of people who donated. And this is actually because I had a vision. I asked Jesus, as I often do, what do you want me to do? And I had a vision. I saw myself downtown Oslo handing out sleeping bags to homeless people. So that's what we have done, that's what we're going to do. So we got hold of a lot of sleeping bags. We're going to, now it's summer is over and winter is coming. We're going to go and give out, be generous, do as the Eskimos, do like this first church, share. And I just found that what Jesus said is true. It's more blessed to give than to receive. To be able to have something to give, to be able to make other people happy. The only thing is that I wish I could make more people happy. And I find I often fail, and I find that what I can do and how I can help is very little compared to all the needs. But I believe that God, and I'm telling myself to God, wants us to see the one. And it matters to the one. Ouch. It matters to the one we manage to help. And the one that we manage to put a smile on their face, it matters. So, see the one today. Maybe there's someone you can give a smile, give a chocolate, give a compliment, give a sleeping bag. Maybe you want to help us out, give out more sleeping bags and food to homeless people. Just let us know. And I think the food is finished. Ready. Yeah, just have to put it here to cool off while I eat this delicious meal. This is far better than a Big Mac. Have you ever thought about that after you've been camping, suddenly all your clothes smell smoke? And it doesn't really take any effort.
And it's really difficult to get the smoke out of your clothes. You have to really wash your hair and you wash your clothes, and everything smells fire, smoke. And to me, I like that smell. It smells good. Reminds me about good memories, camping, being outdoor, in the forest, in the bush, in the wilderness. And actually, it doesn't take any effort. You just sit around the fire and you will start to smell fire. You just hang around the campfire, and the smell of the fire will affect you. You will start to smell like the fire just because you are around the fire, just because you spend time at the campfire, you will start to smell fire. And it's the same with Jesus. As it doesn't take any effort to just start to smell fire, you just need to be around the fire. The same with Jesus. If you spend time with Jesus, hang around the campfire, you hang around Jesus, you will start to smell like Jesus. It doesn't take any effort. You just hang out with Jesus. And his life will start to affect your life. You will start to think like him, feel like him, smell like him, without effort, just being with Jesus. Jesus said to his disciples, "Come follow me, I will make you fishers of men." First I thought, okay, Jesus is asking him to do what he does. So that's not actually what he's saying. He says, follow me, spend time with me, hang out with me, and I will make you do what I do. All it takes is to just hang around the campfire, hang around Jesus. It will affect you. Get into your clothes, into your skin, into your hair, into your emotions, into your heart. And often I'm thinking that I'm too busy to. I get too busy trying to do things, trying to help people, take care of my kids, and things like that need to be done, of course. Needs to be done. But often I think I don't have time to just hang out with Jesus because I have so much to do. But what I find out that in the long run, you will manage more and get to do more and accomplish more if you actually take time around the campfire, take time with Jesus, hang out with him, spend time with him. Because you will be more creative, you will be more peaceful, you will be stronger, healthier, and it will affect people around you in a good way. And I have to remind myself again and again, to stop doing and just start to be with Jesus, with God. Allow him to live through me, and we will get much more done. Campfire Christianity, that's the best Christianity. My parents used to say that, quoting someone else and saying that before people gathered around the fire, around the campfire, now people gather around the TV. Sometime in history, someone really made a bad choice. We need to take our eyes away from TV. Not that we shouldn't watch TV at all, but we have to move our focus away from TV. Fix it on the campfire, fix it on Jesus. Because when we have our eyes fixed on Jesus, then we'll go from glory to glory. Then we'll start to smell like him, think like him, act like him, live like him, spend time with Jesus.